because wasn't Iron Man kind of like the first Marvel real movie for Marvel? I mean, and that spawned...
It was the first Marvel production from one of their third tier, because Iron Man is not like somebody who like would go to a comic store and look at the shelf and actually buy comics.
Yeah.
Iron Man would not be on the rack. You would see Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, all these popular other characters, and Iron Man would be over in the box somewhere because nobody would buy it. And nobody would buy it. Nobody ever read Thor. I didn't fuck Captain America, a guy walking around with like a shield on and the American flag. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
All those characters, except for the Hulk, which was popular, but
like
those
all the
three
Avengers.
main characters, nobody gave a shit. Those are third, fourth tier characters. Nobody cared.
That's, you know, and what's epic is like the Marvel movie franchise did it right. I mean, they did it right. I mean, Iron Man and then Iron Man 2, and then I forgot the order, but Captain America and the Thors, and then they got I mean, the biggest for comic, if I'm not mistaken, I could be completely wrong in this, but when the Avengers came out, people lost their shit because it was like, oh my God, all these major comic book heroes. And dude, they were on Avengers, like, I don't even fucking know, 2 or 3. I mean, they were like 10 years into the Marvel universe already. And DC's like, hey, I think maybe we should make some movies, huh? What's the DC equivalent? The Justice League. The Justice League. Why do I know this? The fuck? Step up. I don't know this shit.
That's what happened. Like Marvel.
But the Justice League was like, I mean, Aquaman, right? I mean, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, I don't know, Flash, whatever.
Martian Manhunter.
But you would think anybody at DC who would have been like, wow, Iron Man really fucking struck a chord. We should probably make a Batman or...
However,
I guess, yeah.
However,
yep.
When that was happening, when Iron Man came out, there was a Batman.
There was.
It was directed by Christopher Nolan,
and it was the best one.
And Christian Bale did not want any other characters in it because Christopher Nolan, who is okay, and I like some of his movies, and Christian Bale, but those guys screwed up DC and Warner Bros. Forever, because when Iron Man was coming out, they had at least if not the first or the second Batman movie, and they did not want to incorporate any other characters. They had no world building. It was just Batman. It was just this box with Batman in it. That was it. At the time when Marvel came out, Robert Downey, there was never an Iron Man before, so he wasn't filling anybody's shoes. He's an original character, and he played that character in like 10 movies. The Batman, they didn't do it. So as Batman is getting narrower and scrunched down this box, the world of Marvel is exploding into all these other characters that nobody knew about.
See, I think DC also fucked it up because you had Brandon Roth or whatever his name was, who was supposed to be like the Superman and bombed. Like he did Superman and fell off the planet.
Well, I worked on that kid as Brandon Ross short in LA before I moved out. And I saw him as an actor. And his movie was directed by a pedophile named Bryan Singer. So Bryan Singer made a terrible Superman movie because the dude's fucked up and has a thing for young kids and being a complete disgusting fuckhead, which has not been addressed and it should be booted. He wanted Brandon because he wanted to fuck the dude, and the movie just came to be a creepy movie about Superman flying around Lois Lane. It's just a terrible movie. He
looked the part.
He looked it. He sounded like Christopher Reeve. He was an embodiment of Christopher Reeve.
I don't know how, as an actor, you do Superman and then do nothing.
Because the movie was just fucking so terrible.
I get it, but I mean, at least he played Superman. I mean, at least there's like you have somewhat of a base. Yeah. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, but he was playing.
But you had how many Batmans did you have? I mean, you had Keaton, Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Askren.
You had
Keaton, Clooney,
Adam West. So you've had like a dozen Batmans.
Exactly.
So it's not like the character is the first time I've ever been seen, which is Iron Man. If you compare the two, Batman had many other people that were playing Batman
and Superman.
And Superman. Yeah, these were all. The only person that had, and they bashed on him, was Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds was playing Green Lantern for the first time. He's never been on the big screen. The movie wasn't that great. and everybody bags on it. Even Ryan Reynolds, he makes jokes about it in Deadpool. And listen, you fucking piece of shit, you met your wife on that movie, you asshole. You like so Ryan Reynolds, for just that, go fuck yourself. You met your wife and made a movie at the same time, and you're happily married, and you have the audacity and the cojones to fucking shit on it. Fuck you, dude. Fuck yourself.
The only Marvel character who's had multiple iterations of a person play it, I think, is Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, and the Hulk, Captain America, Fantastic Four. They've had the Fantastic Four.
Captain America.
But yeah, it was a television show and an old movie.
Well, I mean, but as far as like feature films go, though, like that are recent.
There was a feature film. There was a Fantastic Four feature film that was made that was shelved a long time ago. You'll never see it. And then a Captain America movie that was done, and then you had the Hulk and Spider-Man, and some movies and television shows are all, but nothing took off because the special effects are all garbage. But you're right.
Interesting.
Spider-Man is the only one.
I think that was like maybe their biggest detriment was that there were so many Batmans in the modern era, and Superman was kind of it was like more of a hokey sort of flub. Like Batman was dark and gritty with Christian Bale, and that could have been a good leaping off point. And then they did this real bubblegummy sort of like Superman with Brandon, whatever his name was.
And Superman came out,
and it just, I don't know. I mean, Aquaman was all right.
It was a little bit long. I didn't like the underwater giant massive battle. That was kind of weak. But the fighting underwater was totally cool looking. I thought that was amazing.
Look, at the end of the day, dude, Marvel. They won. They won that battle. They
crushed it.
They crushed it.
They took what the serials were from like Star Wars, right? So we're going to come out with these and we're going to weave these all together because that's what comic books is. Any comic book character is not by himself the whole time. They moving around. X-Men, that's right. The X-Men, but there was also a whole thing where
that's true. X-Men
sold a ton of their properties to film companies like Blade. Like nobody gives credit to Wesley Snipes because Black Panther's a fucking terrible movie. It's not very good. It's really just kind of really boring and the character's really flat. Blade is fucking amazing. The first Blade is fucking
Blade
awesome. Wesley Snipes kills it in that movie. Crushes that.
Yeah, I think the Marvel just did it right. They had Iron Man 1, 2, 3, Thor 1, 2, 3, Planet America or Captain America 1, 2, 3 with all the same actors, and then they started integrating it at the end. Like they had those teasers, and then each one kind of got a spinoff, and then they came together in the Avengers, and then they had a couple of those, and now Black Widow's got a movie, and all the supporting characters who had minor roles are having their feature debuts. Dude, I mean, hats off to Marvel. Because at this point, DC is still screwing it up as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, DC just realized that they made so many mistakes. So DC is doing something creative with theirs, is that they went back and they're bringing back Michael Keaton. Essentially, they're bringing back all the characters from every movie and television show and blending them all into a giant multi-universe crossover. They've got something planned for their streaming service because Michael Keaton is going to come back as Batman. So the original 1989 Batman,
in a movie?
Even Ben Affleck's coming back.
Because didn't they just release a Batman trailer?
Yeah, for the Robert Pattinson movie.
Oh my God. Again, another new Batman.
And it actually looks pretty good. Like, I didn't care about Ben Affleck being it because I have no judgment. Zack Snyder was a little bit weak, but the Robert Pattinson movie that's coming out with Batman actually looks really good, and the car looks good, and Robert Pattinson made a point. He was like, I'm not working out. And I'm like, good for you, dude. You should be in shape. You should be no bigger than you are, like 160. Because when you put on that suit and you look like you've got all this, you look like Ben Affleck, looks like he's inflated. It's like the suit takes over for you when you're doing that. You don't need to like bulk up and look superhuman because it's a fucking movie.
You mean like Chris Hemsworth and Thor?
Yeah, I mean the dude's doing like a shirtless.
He went from like a boy band to looking like The Rock in 6 months. Yeah, cool. All natural. All natural.
Yeah, I mean most of the time he's in civilian clothes, so I get it. But the Batman costume is like a big bulky uniform, and if you got to carry that around and you weigh like almost 200 pounds and you put on like 50 pounds of a costume, it's like the costume it doesn't look real because when you're drawing something. it's just draw. It's like Dr. Manhattan in The Watchmen. You can draw a big blue dude with a penis in the comic book, but on film, when a giant dong is swinging over a tank, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't translate well with a penis in blue that's humongous on. It's just It's just not good. And have you seen that? The Zack Snyder, the Justice League movie was. There's a whole story behind that. They came out with the Justice League movie, and that was working with Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder had some issues. His daughter committed suicide, which is really tragic, and then sooner or later they bumped him from the project. Joss Whedon, who directed The Avengers, came in and finished it, and the movie is total garbage. If you haven't watched Justice League, don't bother. It's so terrible. HBO Max is Warner Brothers, and AT&T owns it, so they're recutting the Snyder Cut Justice League for a 4-hour miniseries on HBO. And Ben Affleck's coming back. They're making a second Man of Steel movie, and they're bringing all this huge. They're trying to play catch up, and they're like, "Well, since we can't do what they did, we've been making movies for a long time. We'll bring in Michael Keaton, and we'll have a multi-universe, and have Michael Keaton actually talk to Ben Affleck and talk to all these other Batman characters, and like we'll make something out of that because it exists."
So that could either work out amazing, or if it's done bad, it'll tank the fucking franchise. Because you're making a new Batman movie, and now you're gonna do this like mini series where you bring all the Batmans back. How the fuck do none of them look alike? Why are they all different ages? What the?
Well, because they're playing into like a multiverse, whereas it's almost what they're saying is reality. Whereas there's a universe that's next to our universe, and there's a person that may or may not look like me that is successful and fucking tons of chicks. As opposed to the me version who isn't doing any of that stuff.
All right.
So you have.
Well, maybe. I mean, like I said,
so you get parallel, and it's like it's the only way they got.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's either gonna be amazing or awful. I mean, I don't think there's a middle ground on that.
No. I think there are even talks with Ryan Reynolds. It's creative. I mean, it's a way out because they fucked up so much, and they're like, well, let's just do this because what have we got to lose? You know.
Wow. Yeah. The Marvel universe got it right, man. They did.
Yeah, they did it.
They got it right. And I wasn't like I am not a comic book fan. I'm not. I never read them. I know squat or dick about any of the comic book heroes. I don't know anything about their histories other than the obvious. And when I saw Iron Man, I was as he fucking has a fucking Spider-Man. There you go.
But it's Spider-Man.
$20.99, huh?
It's a different character. This one's autographed and numbered, which still makes it fucking worthless. It has no value whatsoever.
But when I saw Iron Man for the first time in the theater, dude, I was all over some Tony Stark.